What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today I want to talk about layoffs. We are seeing companies lay off thousands and thousands of people. And I want to talk about this. Let me show you this headline here from Yahoo News. It says, layoffs in corporate America spread from tech to conglomerates. This is their morning brief. And I want to talk a little bit more about this. Why is this happening? What are we looking at when it comes to more layoffs in the future? What are they trying to prepare for? That's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. Okay, so I'm going to start talking about different stories. I know I talk a lot about Social Security, but I'm going to start talking about some of the other headline stories that are going on in the U.S. as well as across the world. So there's a lot of different things that are going on. I think we need to pay attention to all of these things because in order to plan for the future, you need to know what's going on in some of these other areas. So let's go back to this headline here and talk a little bit about what's going on in layoffs. So first off, the first thing that I want to focus on is in the tech industry. And I mentioned this in a previous video that I posted. As a matter of fact, check that video out because I'm talking about World War III, the situation that's going on when it comes to Ukraine and us sending tanks to Ukraine. Check that video out. I posted that earlier today. However, I want to talk about this right here because this is going on in the tech industry. It says this month alone, tech companies have announced more than 50,000 layoffs, including from Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. 50,000 layoffs, and they've announced those. So that's something we're going to see in the very, very near future. Now, it's interesting enough when we look at the data every month. It comes in when it comes to the jobs report. December, U.S. economy added 223,000 jobs. Okay, so that's new jobs. Now, what we're looking at is we're looking at tech companies laying off people. So we're talking about people that are in that industry, and the jobs that people are getting right now is more in the service industry. Lower paying jobs is what we're looking at. So the higher paying jobs, they're laying those people off. But when it comes to lower paying jobs, that is what we're seeing. The hiring is coming from that area. Now, the tech industry, they're doing the opposite. They're laying off, but in other areas, they still want to hire people. However, we are seeing the layoffs start to trickle into some of the other companies that are not necessarily tech companies, like 3M here, as well as the company that Newell company that makes Sharpie pins. So they're starting to lay off people as well. 3M announced that they'll be laying off 2,500 manufacturing jobs, as well as these Newell brand will be laying off 13% of office staff. So this is a crazy time that we're looking at right now because it's interesting that you have tech companies laying off, and now you're having some other companies laying off as well. But other companies still need to hire people. So I don't know what is going to happen in the future, but this is something we definitely need to keep an eye on. We have some companies that are concerned. They're concerned about our economy. They're concerned about the debt ceiling talks right now. What are they going to do when it comes to the debt ceiling? Are we going into a recession? All these things are factoring into some of these companies deciding to lay people off. And what will that mean for our future economy? And that's something that we all need to pay attention to. Are we going to drop into a recession? Are we going to drop into a deep recession? Are we going to be in a situation where now they're trying to cool the economy off? The Federal Reserve is trying to cool the economy off. Could we be in a situation a year from now where they're trying to do the exact opposite? They're trying to stimulate the economy because we drop deep into a hole. And so only time will tell what will happen in the future. Now, we know when it comes to inflation was really high in 2022. It's starting to decline now, which is good. But if the Federal Reserve continues to raise interest rates, it could decline and just drop into this deep recession that people are afraid of. Now, on the other side of this debate, I'm going to play this clip. I'm not going to play the audio. It's just music and it's copyrighted. So I just want to show you that the restaurant industry, they're really moving forward when it comes to these new devices to basically cook. And I showed a short a couple of days ago where McDonald's has a fully automated restaurant where you go through the drive-through. There's people in the back cooking, but that's it. And so they could be moving to this as well, where you have just people, the machines are actually doing all the cooking, they're doing all of the transactions, and you might have maybe one or two people working in the restaurant. And this is where we're moving. And because right now, because we're in a situation, especially in the service industry, where they're trying to hire people and they're having a hard time hiring people, we could see robots replace these people. And in the future, those jobs will be lost. You won't be able to get a job working in the service industry and hotels as well as restaurants. So this is something that is another thing that we definitely need to pay attention to, because now you see these machines are capable of actually cooking. And when it comes to cooking, let's be honest, a robot can most likely do a better job than a person, because everything is timed. They know exactly when it's cooked, and they can work 24/7. And so restaurants have already started to pick this up. We have White Castle that's picking this up. They also have a machine through the same company that makes French fries and does all like the fried foods and things like that. And this is something that we need to watch as well, because when you're talking about jobs being replaced by robots, that's something else that is very scary, and it should be scary for a lot of people, especially if you're in this industry. If you're currently working in this industry, just understand that robots could be taking your jobs. So it's a tough pill to swallow, but that's what we're looking at. And it's not just this industry. You go to any grocery store, you go to the large department stores, and what do you see? You see these automated tellers where you don't need a cashier anymore. You can just go through and do everything on your own. And so we could see this. And I talked about this before in another video, talked about Amazon Fresh. They have a store where you can just go in, a grocery store you can go in with your identification, your card. Everything is already tied to your credit card or your debit card. You just go in there and take the items that you want and leave, and it charges you automatically. So they don't need anyone in that store. I mean, they might have a couple of people in there, but you're not going to have a full workforce anymore. And so this is where we're going when it comes to a lot of jobs. And the real danger here, not only are people going to lose their jobs, but when we're talking about future retirement plans and things like that, we're not going to see the same type of retirement plans. Just think about this. I talked about Social Security in the past in videos when it comes to the money, the FICA money that's coming out of the payroll tax. And that won't be coming out of a payroll tax if you have a robot working in place of a human being. If you have a human being, of course, they're paying the tax, but the robot's not going to pay the tax. And the employer doesn't have to pay the tax as well, because generally the way it works when it comes to Social Security as well as Medicare, and Social Security, 6.2% comes from your paycheck, as well as your employer pays a 6.2%. And that all goes to Social Security so they can provide benefits for the people currently receiving benefits. And then when you get to that point where you retire and you want to collect benefits, it's the same thing. The people that are working are going to pay into that system. But guess what? If you have a lot of robots working, they're not paying into this payroll tax, and the employer doesn't have to pay their portion of the payroll tax for a robot. And so that's where it gets really, really interesting. And then as well, all these investments that we're doing right now when people are working and they're paying into a retirement, or they have a 401k, all those investments, and the company is matching those investments, that's going to go away if you have a robot in place. And so that means less investments into the stock market. So there's a lot of different things that we can see going on in the very, very near future when it comes to this technology, this robotic technology. And so it's interesting to see these robots doing jobs, but it's also something we need to really look at and think, hey, is this the way we want to go? And companies have already made the decision, look, this is the way that we're going. We're going to robots. But will we see the American people push back and say, hey, we need to have retirement plans. We need to have 401ks. We need to have Social Security still around offering benefits. So where do we go from here? So I want to know what you guys think about all this. What do you think about robots? What do you think about the layoffs that we're seeing in the tech industry? Let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.